What's up, everybody? Back for another day in the market. Today, it's been a tough one. I'd say the account's gotten hit again. Looking at kind of the weekly performance, down about 5 grand past 2 days. I'm taking this as an opportunity, honestly, to right size the portfolio as well. As you can see, yeah, down 2,500 today. 2 grand loss yesterday. Honestly, a lot of it's coming from my options portfolio. So my goal going forward, I'm actually going to try and whittle this down. I think I want to do a maximum of 20 positions, and then I'm gonna come up with some other criteria as well as things go on. One thing I'll say is I forgot what I was gonna say, but no, I think whittling this down, being more concentrated, will help me get back to the uh, parameters that I had initially that helped me take this account from 25K to 40K in just a month. As with any account, you're going to have pullbacks, but it's how we manage those pullbacks that are really going to matter. So kind of kick this one off. Starting to draft up a trading plan. One thing, and I'll continue to flesh this out as we go on. I have another document that has a lot more notes in it and criteria, but to kind of give an idea of what I'm looking at doing with the IRA, started out with a $25,000 account. Actually, I'll write this differently. Account size, we started with 25K, and our positions. So when it came to stock, was going to be 80% of the portfolio, options 20%. Now, what I have noticed with this, of course, is if you want to grow faster, you go options. Stocks, since you're not leveraging, it might be a little bit slower, but you can still make good money just trading stocks. So that's something that I've learned. One thing I have realized with options, though, and I already had this inkling, but I was trying, something new. The first month of the year is breakouts are just not my friend. Honestly, for myself, I'm better with pullbacks than breakout trades. Or, if a trade, has been downtrending and we get a candle that closes above the high of that previous day and flip that for, if you're going bearish. Those I've seen some success with, but yet again, those are breakout strategies. Honestly, going forward, we're going to be looking for weekly trend first. Put that as criteria. So trend weekly, and we're looking at, is it bullish or bearish? Then we're going to look at the trend daily, bullish, bearish. Before doing all this, of course, I'll have an idea of where I think the market's going to go, because the stocks to be traded in this account are going to be the NASDAQ 100, S&P 100, Dow 30. And what's nice about this is a lot of these watch lists, they have a lot of overlap. So I've made the watch list over here, and yeah, it's not 230 stocks. So there's a lot of overlap, which is nice. Going from there, as far as our entries, we'll go. Well, actually, hold on. Let me back up. Now, since the account is sitting around 35,000, and I'm taking off, it's like 36, but I'm just going to say 35K so that we can just have that. So our stock positions are now going to be 28,000 or 80%. and options will be 7,000 or 20%. Now, previously, when looking at the 25K account, max position size was $500 with options risk 40 to 50%. Honestly, for myself, when I see something going down 30%, I'm going to look at the chart. If I see something down 40, 50%, at that point, I'm either, accepting that I was wrong about the trade, or if the trade is still viable and maybe I didn't have the best entry, I'll re enter the play. But I'd say once I get to that 30, 35% mark, and I have an example of that today, I'm going to start to look at what's the overall trade structure, what's the market doing, and maybe I'll just off in my analysis. Of course, there are always news events that can, take a trade from being positive to negative. So have to be cognizant of that too. So with that in mind, position size, max position size for this would have been on options was 500, max position size, stocks, 5,000. Typically with my stock trades, I always move in multiples of 5. So I may not take the full 5,000. And then when it comes to our stock trades, profit target, we usually want 6% at the minimum, 10% at the most. Now, I will caveat this. If the stock is just running, I'm not going to cut my profits for no reason. And I would hope no one else does that too. So with that in mind, if this 6% to 10%, maybe that's like the first target, I'll just trim a portion of the position and then I'll let the rest carry on to either being stopped out in profit, or we'll see what else we can do. But either way, I would count that as a successful trade. Options risk. So I want to say max loss that I've been tinkering with this, because the position size isn't a ton, and depending on where the stop is, so far from what I've seen, max loss has been around $300. And just to do some quick math, 25,000. Wait, no. 300 divided by 25,000 times 100. Yeah, the 300 would be close to 1.2%. And mind you, this is on a $5,000 position size. So looking for, quick hits. And this is why over the next month and March, going to be focusing more on my entries, just because the breakouts are, I feel, hurting me a lot more. And I also want to work on less trading frequency as well, which gets kind of hard when you hit a good run and the stock just keeps going. So over time, I'll probably come up with some criteria on how many times I'll roll a contract, or if maybe I'll just let the contract continue on, put a stop loss on it, still kind of tinkering with some things to find out what I feel is best for myself. So back to where we currently are now. So if looking at, current portfolio size, so if 5,000, that's 20% of 25,000. Now we're looking at 35,000 times 0.2. So yeah, we can take max position size. It's going to be 7 grand, and let me make sure I did my math right. About 35,000. Yep. So at most, typically gonna have about four stock positions, and then when it comes to the options trades, so we're looking at 2% per position. 35,000 times 0.02. We're looking at $700. And what I like about this, what I've seen based on the first month doing this, is having $500 and then growing it slowly. I've noticed that $500 is a good spot for me. Able to get closer at the money contracts, and I just like the way those move better. So this is kind of just bare bones. We'll continue to add to this, but right now we're going to be working with this criteria here, and going to be whittling down some positions over the next couple of days to get back within this criteria and really right size things so that still have good market exposure but not overexposed. So jumping into things today, we're post FOMC meeting minutes being posted. So far, we've got looks like a mixed bag so far. So Costco traded that 989, sitting at 996, up on the position, down on the day. Johnson and Johnson, this is running to all-time highs. We're sitting at 300, and actually, I'll bounce between the two. So if we look at Costco, and I'll pop this page out. So when we look at Costco, bit of a pullback, but we still stop was down here at 967.12, and looking at the daily, we still have I was looking for 1,066. Now, this in mind, we're using structure BISI. We're above the BISI entry, but sitting right here, so it looks like another one being used right now. So what I'm looking to see is this area hold, and we continue to push higher. So no changes to the Costco position. Johnson & Johnson. Johnson & Johnson sitting at all-time highs. This position right now, originally I had it to 245.71. I think what I'm going to do is I'll continue to hold, but just to start a new position, I may just take this off when we make this new all-time high at 246. 246.35. Let's just call it 246. Or I don't know, because I've raised my stop in profit. Maybe just leave the stop here. We'll see how it reacts from here, because if my stop's at 241 and we shoot through this, one thing never try to do is time the high. We're just gonna let it run. Plus, I also want to collect this dividend, so I might just hold this until through the 24th. So let me make sure I don't have. Okay, and I have this at 265. I want to say I did that based off a weekly chart. When we look at SPG, right now this one, little shaky, but a lot of things have pulled back today, given FOMC market news. But as you can see, pulled back into this area, pushed out of it, and now we're coming back down. From a long-term perspective, I think we might be at all-time highs. No. Okay. So with this one, how did I have this up here? Just do some quick technical analysis. We blew through. Took this buy side liquidity pool. We took this one, these two at roughly the same time, and now looking to go here. So if we really look at things, we can either just grade from point to point. From here to here, I mean, we were halfway there. So now sitting in that, kind of pull back to 25% of the progress. Continue to let this one run. No reason to change. Targets. Target's still looking good. If we do get a pullback, maybe we see a pullback to this area right here. In which case, I would love to enter in on some calls. And this being a weekly BISI, like this move is going to be a lot more explosive than, let's say, if you're on a smaller time frame. So looking to see where this goes. Currently have this headed going up here, which means if we drop down to the daily, scrunch this up. Yeah, we're looking at this 0.62 level. Might even let this just go a little bit above the 0.62 level. Possibly looking at here. At 131, or we can bracket that and we have right here 127. So looking to get out somewhere in this range. No changes to that. And then United Health Group, this is the newest position I just put on, and as you can see, we've pulled back, utilizing this BISI right here. We're also inside of a weekly BISI as well. And, we have this large, just all selling. And then when you drop down to the daily, now we're looking at a very large gap fill. So I'm looking for the gap to fill, that possibility. And I've also entered into a leap position down here of January 15th, 27,500 calls. So just have two of those a year. So we're not, doing anything with that just yet. Now, looking at individual options positions, and I'm going to try and fly through this as fast as possible. Entered Airbnb puts, entered this on the 17th. And yeah, this day right here. So came in, pushed down, and since then, I got it closer to when it was in here, and should have more profit. But based on the day, a lot of that got taken away. So with this, I'm looking for this bearish continuation on this particular stock, not the entire market, but just this particular stock. I'm looking for 115 down here. So right now, no change to that one. Adobe, this might be one that, I need to, because of where my entry was, a little messy. So Adobe being in the being in a downtrend on the weekly. Really nothing about this says let's get bullish, even from a stock standpoint. The only thing might be is hey, trying to catch the bounce down here, but until I see more confirmation, I'd like to see it get above this. And really, I think I said this in the other video, really getting above this area of 364 would be nice from a weekly standpoint. And then when we look at it on the daily, we've taken this sell side liquidity pool here. So seeing if we can get some type of shift in market structure, which on the daily would be getting above here and then looking for that pullback. But this could be an opportunity, for a possible short-term call play. But I'm looking at puts for this one right now. 230 put, in a bit of some trouble, and that was based off the idea that right now this is kind of just moving sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4 last 5 days, looking to see some continuation downward, heading into earnings, and maybe that's where we get the bounce, but who knows. But I'm still going to maintain that position because the weekly is still supporting the trade idea. AMD, I'm probably just going to cut this one and go back to puts. And some told me, I put in the video yesterday that I switched sides, and not too sure why I did that. But oh yeah, because I thought this was going to go up, but yeah, looking at it, this is heading a lot lower. So give you a quick trade example of this one. So I'm going to close this out. So close that one out. Move this to the trash bin. So this one is holding to what I thought it would do. This was just, false. I feel like it wants to head lower here to 190. So what we're going to do with AMD is we're going to lock that in. So if remember, looking back to max position size, 700 is the most we can do. So best we're looking at are these 180s. Try and get this as low as possible. We have enough. Result day power is going to be 300. Throw that in there. And now we'll see if we get fit. Right, we got filled on that. And this is where I'm going to need to start looking at my entries more. I'm tinkering between the 4-hour and seeing what's there. As you can see, like the Virgin Fair Value Gap on the daily came up, hit it. Even, right here, up, down, entry could have been, this day yesterday when it came back up, and then we could have, ate off that. But right now, looks like price is heading below this here. We'll target 190 on that. That one, AMD is looking good. Coin took this. This is why I do not necessarily like breakout trades. Coin was looking good yesterday, pushed up, and then even this morning was pushing, and now looking like it wants to continue the downtrend. And this is why, I'm coming up with that criteria. Weekly's in the downtrend. So we are going against we're going upstream. So even looking at the monthly, this is headed down. Yeah, it took, sell side here, but based on where we are, it's downtrending. Weekly, downtrending. Daily, peaking its head up, but the larger time frames are giving, downtrend signals. So this one, also going to sell this one. And my new target for this is going to be 139, or what was my weekly target? Oh, 139 was swept. So seeing what this does post today, look for, maybe some continuation to down here to 114. Or, we'll just take this low right here. 139.36, and yeah, see how it reacts there. So I'll put this on here just in case we reverse. So I'm gonna fire this one. I'm not sure how much buying power I have left. So we could do this. Let's see if I even have the buying power. We do have the buying power. So 700, we're gonna take this one. And we're filled on that. From here, CRM, nothing alarming. Nothing else really alarming here. Palantir, got into this earlier, and this will be the last one that I'm gonna wrap up this video. Palantir, it seemed like it had a nice push. Not even gonna, not gonna lie. I think I got faked out, though, because as you can see, downtrending on the weekly, and then I mean it was no real market structure shift. Like really, to consider calls, should have waited until this, getting above this level here. But and this is kind of where I talk about, why I'm thinking about I reconsider the breakout trades. We get above the high of this low day on this day. Everything looks good and then pushes back down. But that's also because we have not really changed uh, the direction or momentum, by showing that, hey, we're done making, like now we just got a lower high potentially forming here. And we've got a lower low here. So trend is still following that. This is going to be the last trade of the day. I just put this on day. I'm going to flip this to finish loading. I'm going to flip this one bearish. Now this one, since I do have to right size my portfolio, I'll probably do that as more positions fall off. I think we can afford the 125 calls. No, we cannot. 1, 2, 3. We'll do a 120 and we'll let this play out because we're just sitting at Relax. But yeah. So all that in mind, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna clean this up over the next couple of days. You'll see, gonna drop, some positions off. Honestly, looking to have, I think at most maybe like 10 to 20 positions here, depending on risk sizes. But I hope you all found this insightful. Hope you can learn from what I'm doing in my trading. Again, this is not financial advice. This is strictly for entertainment purposes only. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their trading day.